We go back to when I was in, like the worst part of it, when I was in school, advanced maths, I would have just sat there in the back corner, looked at my paper and gone, I can't do this. And just not even tried, or said by the end of it, written some numbers down on the paper that I knew were wrong, showed my paper, got out of class and not even bothered trying again. Come finishing school, I moved into state. I wanted to be an athlete, but I had in the back of my mind, I always wanted to do uni. I always wanted to do exercise science. And that was from a mentor in Melbourne. And he was a fantastic sports scientist. He majored in biomechanics. And I wanted to be like him, but I also wanted to be an athlete. So I put uni on the back burner. Athlete finished, and then I was like, I want to go to uni. And then I got to second semester and I relived my worst nightmares. I got mech bases came up, and like class 1, it was okay. I got through it because it was the general maths. There was bid maths, bod maths, whatever it's called now. It was this plus this equals this. It was here's a calculator, put the answer down, that's it. And then second tute came and I was struggling with Pythag. It was advanced maths all over again. I just couldn't do it. I was struggling to remember what they all are. I was like, I can't remember these formulas again. I just can't do it. I'm seeing letters in maths equations. What is this? It's just not working for me. A lot of people don't do physics in school. A lot of people don't do extension maths. But a lot of people end up passing mech bases eventually. And I think a lot of people can pass mech bases first go. I think that's like, I'm living proof that it can be done. A garbo and mushroom farmer can pass mech bases. So if I can do it, anybody can do it. But I think it's something that people shouldn't just sit there and go, wow, that's a lot of numbers, that's a lot of data, that's a lot of everything. I think it's something they should go, okay, how do I get this done? How do I come at this a different way? And how do I figure out my way to do it? How do I make this work? Like, what can I do? Not just be like, I can't do this. What can I do? Yeah, I approach it from a few different angles. I approach it from, first of all, I try to not just get overwhelmed straight away. I try to think, okay, what are we actually trying to do here? And if I go back to mech bases, it would have been like, what am I trying to achieve in week 2 when Pythag comes up? And it's like, I'm trying to understand the basics of how these things work and the concept behind what's happening. I'm trying to understand what all these things put together mean, not so much in the massive scope that Pythag can be used, but just in this one practical example. And then break it down from there is what I would have done. And then as we go through, try and apply that, so on and so forth. So that's the first thing I do, try not to get overwhelmed. I then try and break it down like that, like I mentioned. And because I think then you can sort of tick things off. You can go through and you can go, okay, right now at this point in time, I can tick this off and get a bit of a win. And I can go, yep, I can finish that. I can put in an equation, A plus B plus C equals whatever. And so you get a few little wins on the board. And then if at that point in time I don't know something, I like the challenge of trying to find it out and try and work it out. So I'll come at it from all those different angles that I mentioned. How would a programmer think about this? How would a networker think about this? How would a mathematician think about this if I know how a mathematician thinks? How would I think about this? And can we draw any conclusions? And then if that doesn't work, then I'll go and ask for help and seek some advice and try and get back to that student mindset of like when I was at the end and trying to be a sponge and take on all that information.